Bass fishing myths are believed by many of us, but forgetting about them and clearing your head will help you catch more fish. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Let's talk about some bass fishing myths and debunk them as much as possible, because some of them are going to be kind of both ways. But these, if you listen to them, clear your head, and forget about these, they could help you catch more fish. Myth number 1. Moon cycles affect bass spawning. This is a myth. This is something I've believed for a long time until recently. Really, bass spawn when the temperature is correct for them. Coincidentally, it seems to fall at the same time that we have full moons. But the fact is, bass want to spawn at 63 degrees. And when that moon is at its highest, and when that moon phase is at its highest, it warms up the water just a little bit. And that is why bass spawn during that time. Myth number 2 is that bass are only in deep water during the winter. Now, there's really two sides to this. Yes, they are deeper during the winter, but they're deeper because the water temperature is different than in the shallow water. During the winter, that shallow water can be colder than the deeper water, and the bass are trying to stay where that thermocline is. Also, it's where the forage fish are at. It's where the fish they are eating are at. So when the baits move deeper, so do the bass. But the myth that bass are only in deep water during the winter is just a myth. Number 3 is big baits catch big fish. But bass are opportunistic eaters. If something falls in their face or something is shown that they want to eat, they'll eat. To be honest, the biggest bass I've ever caught is 14.27. I was going to do a series about trying to catch my first 10-pounder. And I went all over the state to find areas where I thought I could catch one. And at the time I was working for the Village's newspaper. And don't ask me. I don't want to answer any questions about that. For months and months before I knew the bass were spawning, I would go sit at lunch and fish this pond. And over time I found that there was one area where I knew a bass would bed. And for days I would go to this pond, and as I walked down, I would see that bass in that bed. But as I walked down, it would scoot off. Finally, I realized I need to come all the way back around the other side of the pond and make the long trek. And on my first cast with the beaver style bait and the bait caster, 14.27. Kind of shot the whole theory of what I wanted to do for a video series, but it was the biggest bass. But what that means is bass are just looking for anything that they can eat, from smaller baits to bigger baits. But bigger baits don't always catch you the biggest bass. Number 4 myth is going to be a little weird. Bass always relate to shade. Now they do during the summer when it's super hot. But bass will position themselves in shade when the water temperatures are above 55 degrees. When below 55 degrees, they don't. Bass will also seek out underwater structure, cover, limbs, branches, whatever they can when it gets over 55 degrees so that they can ambush bait better. It isn't just about shade, it's about what's under the water makes a bass find his home. Bass will look for structure under the water first before shade. But bass don't always relate to shade. That's our 4th myth. Our 5th myth is one that I didn't believe till recently. I always felt like if you caught a bass, it kind of learned from the bait that you're using. They're not that smart. And after numerous catches, they will learn about a certain feeling that they get on their lateral line, but it doesn't mean they're going to stop eating that bait. It takes a lot of time for them to learn not to be stupid. I have a frog pond where I know consistently you throw a Nico-rigged worm or a frog or a fluke, you will catch them time after time after time. There aren't that many bass in the pond. I've probably caught all of them 3 or 4 times. Or look at the guy, the YouTuber that does the Bama Bass pond that he made. Those fish are caught consistently on the same baits. They're just not that smart. So there's 5 myths that I thought I'd bring to your attention that probably some of you believe, that I believe, that we need to get them out of our head, clear our head so that we can fish better and we can catch more fish. And if I can just take a quick second to just say thank you to all the new subscribers, the new members, the people who are interactive on the channel. I so appreciate all the things you guys do. I love getting up in the morning and replying to your comments. So keep it up, but if you're not a subscriber, you should be, because it's quick, easy, simple, and it's free. All you gotta do is click that button and you make my day. So thank you. So comment below one myth you think I should do in the next video. Just put it down there. Remember, take a kid fishing, tight lines, cheers, and get your fish on.